streaming. All right. What's up, guys? How we doing? Welcome to the stream. I am Medium D. I have with me the one, the only
Zerk.
A.
We didn't discuss this. I thought you were just gonna say my name.
Nah. I also wanted to make sure that your audio is going through.
Oh, okay. Well, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Are we
Uh,
live right now?
yeah, we're live.
Okay.
All right. So we heard about this Adam22 situation a little bit. Some people have been talking about it, so we just wanted to check out this video and react to it. So we're gonna start that up in just a sec. I just sent it to you. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So what? We just have to hit play and stop at the same time.
Yeah, we can do a watch party. You want to do a watch party?
Well, isn't that like the best?
Yeah, I guess. What's the name of the? Is it just watch party?
I don't know, dude. You set this up. I've been telling you I can't see anything.
No,
So
the name of the website. Um, is this the thing? This isn't the one I'm familiar with. Invite friends. Copy link. Okay. Sending you the link. Okay. People 2. Is that you? Are you in?
I guess it says I'm not watching anything.
Yeah, I haven't put anything in yet. Okay, V browser. Oh, no. No, not screen share. Control copy. Go here, go here, go here. There we go. All right, we got it.
Adam22 is the
Is it too loud? Yeah,
Oh,
turn down your volume.
yeah. I'm aware, but I can't tell if it's still too loud if you pause the video.
Ah, okay. You can play it. You press play.
All right.
host of the popular No Jumper podcast, as well as the owner of the YouTube channel No Jumper, which is actually the home to a number of shows, some of which he appears on, some of which he doesn't. The channel has got more than 10 million views in the last 30 days, which is quite a bit of money when translated into Google AdSense dollars, especially
Yeah.
considering those views are mostly on long podcasts, which can be like 1 to 3 hours long. So the No Jumper machine
Oh, yeah.
is generating
Fuck.
quite a bit of revenue. On top of that, he also runs the Plug Talk podcast, which is a show on OnlyFans. It's basically this podcast where they bring adult film stars on and talk to them about their gross, weird lifestyle, where they get covered in fluids of all manner. The Twitter account alone for that show has like 250,000 followers or something like that, so I would guess
That
they're
actually
making
sounds
a
lit.
pretty good amount of money. Adam himself is kind of a psychotic
Damn, that
money
is a lot of
machine,
money.
doing like multiple podcasts a day, doing this OnlyFans podcast, also doing other OnlyFans content. I mean, the guy is on his grind set, okay? Now, too long ago, I actually talked about Adam on my channel after allegations were made that he slept with a 16-year-old when he was in his 20s. They were brought to the forefront by a guy who calls himself an amateur creep catcher who went on the No Jumper podcast, and then he, without telling Adam or telling Flacco or anyone else on the show, he started an Instagram live.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, so basically, I remember the video. So basically, Adam back in the day,
Wait. Is this guy not about to tell us what you're about to tell me?
I don't know. I didn't pre-watch the video, or
I
if I
know, but
did,
I'm
I
saying
don't
I would
remember.
assume that if he brought it up, he's gonna be explaining.
Oh, okay. I guess, but we're not really providing any content. That's why we gotta talk. Like we can't just watch the video.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, I thought we were talking about the cook thing, so I thought we were gonna get there and then start reacting and then cut the video.
Yeah, you can
But
play
if
it
you
if
want
you
to talk
want.
about this, I guess you can tell me.
Well, play it. Let's see if he says it. I don't know if he's gonna say it.
All right.
and called Adam out on the show, basically calling him a predator. The origin of this story itself was a blog post
Oh, I guess he's gonna cover it.
time ago where he described a relationship with said girl.
We talking about the whole lust situation and everything, bro.
Yeah, I've seen this.
I'll be a hypocrite if I don't address the situation that happened with you.
There is no situation on me.
Now, any of the math inclined out there are probably reading this and thinking
Yeah, his
something
phone
like,
was
she's
dying
19
too.
now, you were 23 then. How old was she then? Well, she was 16. But come on, man, look at her. She's 18 or 19 in most of the pics here, but she didn't look much different at all back then. If statutory is wrong, I don't want to be right. Now, I get
Jeez.
the argument that the age of consent is 16.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Well, I'm sure traveling from America to Canada to have sex with a minor is still illegal as hell. But
Ooh.
for an argument, she was stupid hot and I wanted in.
But wait.
Now, this got a ton of attention on
Yeah, pause it. What?
So he was 20 and she was 16?
I think he said 23.
No, he said she's 19 now. She was 19 when he was 23. So she was 16 when he was 20.
No, I think he was 23 when she was 16. I'm not 100% sure. Even if he's 20, that's still like, dude, any man that even knows a 16-year-old when you're 20 years old is a fucking loser. Like, how do you... As soon as I turned 18 and was not in high school, so not immediately when I was 18 because I was still in high school. As soon as I left high school, somehow, never again met a minor in my life.
Well, I don't know, man, because I went to college and my roommate was talking to some girl from his high school, and then she would bring her friends around. So, like, high school girls were in our dorm. You know, high school girls sneak and go to parties. I just talked to a girl last week who my homie hooked up with her a long time ago, and, like, he met her at the club, and then she said she's, like, still not 21, and we were like, holy shit. And she was at the club again. So, you know, like, you're saying you just got lucky you never met high school people, but, like, I definitely have experiences with, like, high school girls be trying to find old men.
I definitely super mega don't. And, like, when I was in high school, there would be girls that bragged about dating adults. And once I became an adult, I was like, those guys are gigantic fucking losers to be dating a high school. You just can't get a girl your own age. Like, what a fucking loser. And also, yeah, I've always just thought that. I'm like, how do you even meet someone in high school? It's just like, it's a totally
like I said,
different
they be
world.
sneaking around. Like, this girl, she might have been 18, which was fine, because maybe it was like 2 years ago. But she's 20 now, and she was in the club then, and she's in the club now, and she's still not supposed to be in the club. So it's like, you meet a girl in a club where you're like, everybody has to be 21, they're checking IDs at the door. Like, you're not gonna sit there and ask her, yo, are you 21? Like, it's supposed to be a given.
I guess. Still, like, I always heard that, especially as a kid. Like, in high school, I would always hear, oh, these girls, I don't know which girls, maybe someone I knew, but not that I was aware of. Oh, these girls, they go out and they look older, and, like, they trap the older guys. They, like, nobody I know has ever been in that situation. But
this girl definitely
I don't know fucking
like,
pedophiles.
She looked 21 at least. And, like, there was some podcast I watched a long time ago where this girl, I think she's like a corn star, and she's from Florida, and she was saying, like, when she was 17, she, like, road tripped to Miami to go to some underground show, and then ended up staying with the artists and, like, fucking for like 3-4 days, and, like, was lying to her mom about where she was, and then just, like, I think she's from, like, Tampa or something.
Yeah, that's just grooming. That's just grooming.
No,
it's not
came
grooming.
Down here, she lied to her mom and came here because she wanted to go to the show. She met the guy who I'm sure he thought whoever's at his shows are 18 and up, and then they hooked up because she was coming on strong to him. And who knows if he ever found out that she was underage. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't just typically just ask somebody to make sure. Like, once you're an adult and you're in adult spaces and there's adults in those spaces, it's like what happened to Chris D'Elia. Like,
What happened to Chris D'Elia?
He was like, they were trying to call him a groomer for texting some 16-year-old, but he didn't say anything sexual to her. He met her at one of his shows, which was supposed to be 18 plus, and then when he found out how old she was, he was like, we can't do this or whatever. Like, so he might have, like, flirted a bit in the beginning, and then he found out her age and he stopped. And then she tried to fucking expose him, being like, "Oh, he's a groomer." It's like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't do anything. I cut it off, and you were where you weren't supposed to be.
Uh, nah, bro. I still say that's fucked up. You could say, oh, like, dude, that's a 17-year-old
Why is it
child.
fucked up, Danny?
Any sexual contact
Stop.
between an adult and a
The
child,
answer is because.
across the board, wrong. No gray area. There is no gray area.
Okay, he didn't have sex with her. Chris said anyway.
Okay.
So
I'm not
so
saying that.
what's
I'm
fucked up?
saying in general, right? What you were saying, because you talked about like 6 different things. If an adult somehow interacts with a child in a sexual context, that's fucked up.
I
And
mean,
and you can
yeah,
say, like, you can blame
it's
the
fucked up in a way
child.
that like it's fucked up in a way that like, oh, I fucking sneezed and ran a stop sign and hit somebody with my car. Yeah, that's fucked up. But did like was I driving drunk? No. Like, did I hit the person on purpose because I had a vendetta against them? No. Like, yeah, I hit them. It's fucked up. But it's like some shit was out of my control. Like, I didn't know my body was gonna do that when it did that.
No, I disagree. And I think, like, okay, first of all, we're talking about Adam22. Second of all, I think anybody that interacts with high school people is a fucking loser. Period. I think they can't get girls their own age. I think it's super fucking weird. I never had that problem. I don't know anybody that ever had that problem where they had to interact with high school girls for any reason. Um,
Yeah, but you keep saying had to, or like that they're trying to, and you're ignoring the fact that I gave you examples of where the guys were minding their own business and a girl happened across them in an adult space, like any other adult girl happens across them, and this one just happened to like you. You're just saying like, oh, a girl your age, every only girls your age are gonna pass by you, and you're only gonna talk to them, and they're just going to be your age every time because there's some sort of like fucking radar. Like, no.
that's been my experience, and that's been the experience of pretty much everybody I know. And I
It's
like,
very
it's really
That's like
dangerous
weird to say.
territory, and it's really dangerous territory to be trying to come up with reasons why it would ever be okay, or like be like, oh, we'll just blame the girl. The girl was lying and, getting into adult spaces. Like, that's still sus. There's still a lot of things wrong. And also, it's pretty easy to tell most of the time, the difference between a 16-year-old and like a 21-year-old. But anyway,
Oh,
we're talking about Adam
actually,
22.
yeah. And
Don't
again,
dig
like,
this
okay,
pit, man.
if he was 20 and she was 16, the question I was going to ask is like, if she was in Canada, like, what is the statutory law in Canada? Because every state in the United States has a different one. Like, even in countries like Japan, like, you can marry an adult can marry a 16-year-old in Japan. So like, if it was legal in Canada, then he did nothing wrong.
He's
But
American under American
if it
standards.
if it wasn't legal in Canada, then he's fucked up.
I would say anything, like, the law. I don't think the law matters, right? Because there's legal and there's moral. I think any sex between an adult and someone that's still in high school, wrong, across
He
the
wasn't
board.
even 21. He wasn't an adult.
18 is an
Like, that's
adult.
the thing too.
18 is
You
an
That's the
adult.
thing too. You can't even go to the club to talk to grown women when you're a guy under 21. So who the fuck else is he supposed to talk to if you're not in college?
Do you think the
Where are the
club
women at?
is the only place to meet women?
Well, places like the Kava bar count too, but like that wasn't even a thing back when he was 20. Like,
He was in the rock scene. Now he's in the rap scene. He was in the rock scene. So he was going to shows. I'm sure he had no problem getting girls that were his own age, that were around. And he was like similar to how he is now, an interviewer that's big in the scene. He was big with interviewing punk and rock and skate like culture people. That's always had been his thing, is like the edge of youth culture. That's where he's been at since he was like 18 or however old. So, first of all, I've never had a problem meeting women without going to the club. I think maybe maybe once, maybe one time I hooked up with a girl at the club. And actually, no. Okay, actually, no, 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 no. Yes, okay, once. And once a friend of mine took me to the club because he liked going to the club, and he went with 2 girls. So he like gave me one of the girls, which sounds horrible, but that's what happened. Once ever, and it was because I was at a friend's event and we had a table, so we had space to talk. I've never there's so many at college. First of all, yeah, you're probably in college. If you are in the music industry where you're going to shows and interviewing people and you're in that world, bro, there's plenty of pussy around you. Plenty of pussy around you. And you got to be going to the fucking child. He's literally saying, yo, if this is like, she's 16, but nah, she was hot, so it's okay. That's not chill at all. That's not chill at all. He's not coming at it like, oh, I was tricked, I didn't know. He knew. He knew, and he's literally saying, I don't even care if it's illegal. I literally don't even care. But the problem is, right, this guy confronts him about it. How old is he? 35? 38?
Something.
The guy confronts him 18 years later, let's say. Like a whole legal adult later. And he goes, no, because this guy's like a predator catcher. That's like the kind of content he does. He exposes predators. He goes to him and he goes, well, I'd be a hypocrite if I'm here exposing another predator and we don't at least address the situation with you.
We just saw that happen.
And instantly, right away, immediately, homeboy goes, there is no situation with me. Just shuts that shit down.
Which means it must have been legal.
Which means he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want this information out there at all. And then he kicked homeboy out. He literally kicked him out of the fucking thing live in the middle of the recording of the podcast. So obviously that's going to Streisand effect shit and bring more attention to it. So then people pull up all this old shit from the internet 18 years ago and they go, oh, Adam did some pedophile shit.
Well, that's unfortunate.
But I bet Adam is such a money-hungry fuck that he loved the attention from it. And he goes, I don't even care if people think I'm a pedophile because I'm getting more money and attention because of this event. People are talking about me. And I think that's what's happening now with this like cuck thing. I would bet even though he's already, like everybody keeps saying, oh, he's already a millionaire. He's already a millionaire. Like, bro, Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. He doesn't stop making money. Like Elon Musk is a billionaire. He doesn't stop. Like they keep going. Anyone that would stop at a certain point probably will never be a millionaire.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's true.
I would bet that like he's taking advantage of this and doing this for attention.
Maybe.
And Adam currently denies that it happened and instead claims that people are misinterpreting his blog post from back in the day and that she was actually 19 years old when they slept together. It kind of just became dead in the water. Adam continued posting his podcast and doing his content. Meanwhile, his accusers and
Okay, so if he says she was 19 and Buddy says she was 16 and she's not saying anything, we just believe the other person because we don't like Adam and we want him to be a pedophile?
No.
Okay, so until like that's not even what we were supposed to be reacting to, but I'm just saying like
I didn't know about
that's
that.
The case, then
I mean,
I would opposing claims. So.
Yeah, I would also, if I was in that situation, I would say, oh no, you're misinterpreting it. You see, if you read it this way, she's clearly 19. I simply met her at 16, but I didn't do anything until she was 19. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you say? Yeah, well,
groomer.
But apparently it dropped, so whatever. I guess Adam didn't get the attention he wanted out of it.
Critics kind of faded into obscurity. But that doesn't mean they went away. Thanks to those allegations going mainstream, there's now an audience of people waiting to make fun of and mock Adam at any given opportunity, right? They're basically sitting, just being like, okay, when's the next time we can, quote tweet Adam on Twitter or find something viral to make fun of him with? And I'm not necessarily saying those people are wrong for doing that, but they are definitely doing it. And most recently, he gave them a reason to make fun of him on a silver platter. Something I've neglected to mention up until this point is that Adam's co-host on his OF show, and the reason it has his name, is his wife, Lena the Plug. She's also an adult film star, but as of the time they got together, they had a close relationship in terms of guys. They would do threesomes on camera, I believe. I think they even did one with Trisha Paytas, or maybe solo with just Adam and Trisha. I don't know. Either way, I unfortunately got that spam guys and had to see how disgusting it was. But regardless,
oh my God, they fucked Trisha Paytas?
Who is that?
Oh man. Oh man.
Okay, if you're not gonna answer, I'm gonna hit play.
Oh man, she's like the grossest person. She's like one of the most old school YouTubers, but like what she is famous for is being like super gross, super dramatic, crying on the floor of her kitchen all the time in videos over weird nonsense. And yeah, she's just like she's just gross, man. There's a lot to it. She's been on YouTube probably 15, 17, 18 years, like since the beginning. But yeah, I remember she made an OnlyFans and everybody clowned her because nobody wanted to see that. Everybody fucking clowned her. And then I do remember. Okay, I didn't know. I guess she made that
But you know
OnlyFans.
that's been you haven't seen that happen recently. Like there was
This years ago.
a bunch of people put out videos that there are women that go on Fresh and Fit and they get dragged the entire podcast in the chat, and then the next day, literally within 24 hours, their OnlyFans subscriptions triple. So the same people that are dragging them
Oh yeah.
actually do want to see that shit. So
Oh yeah, because it's
so
all
that doesn't
bullshit.
surprise me that. So you saying, oh, they clowned her? I was like, those same motherfuckers. Everybody who clowned
No,
her,
no.
I guarantee you they fucking paid.
No. You're misconstruing two different things. This is like an actual like gross person that nobody wanted to see naked. Like maybe some
Okay,
people.
yeah,
There are certainly some.
Everybody who said that on social media probably fucking paid to see.
No. I know what you're talking about. Trust me on this. This is like an actual YouTuber. I'm sure there's people that pay to see Nikocado Avocado's OnlyFans, right? There are people that are into weird shit. It is not one of those situations. It is not one of the, like, bro, obviously those Fresh and Fit people. First of all, it's just the people on the show that are doing the dogging, right? And there might be some people in the chat. These people that are watching Fresh and Fit, 99% of them are fucking losers. Very young guys that think they can't get girls. And a lot of them have problems with porn, have problems with it. So they need to hear like a dad figure tell them, porn is bad, women are bad. The reason for your problems is that you're not going to the gym, but also it's the women, they're bad. There's nothing wrong with you. These are probably the guys that are paying for OnlyFans. These are probably the guys that see, oh, hot girl, and pay for the OnlyFans. They are not the ones on Fresh and Fit yelling at them. And I even think the ones that are yelling at them are just doing it for the content, and they don't really believe that shit. But I don't really know. I don't really watch them. Go on.
Alright.
They did threesomes, but only with other girls, okay?
No guys allowed.
Well, back in May, they ended up getting married in Italy.
Oh. I didn't know.
Oh,
They have a kid?
No. You were the one who
Well,
wanted
you know,
to
good for them. It was nice to
react
see that they
this.
got together, even
They've
though
been
they had
had
an
a kid.
unconventional marriage.
I
You know,
don't
there's a
watch
lot of these
them.
celebs like Destiny have different kinds of relationships where he and his
Yeah,
wife
their daughter's
see
like
other
2 years
people,
old or
Sneeko
something.
included. OnlyFans and fans are really making everyone more positive. So who am I to judge, right? People are going to do what they want with their relationships. End of the day, nothing I say is really going to change how they act. So
Yeah,
there's
of
no
course.
point in really like ragging on them too much for it. Well, Twitter and Reddit and everyone are not in agreement with that. They're judging Adam a lot right now because of this clip that his wife posted titled "It Finally Happened" with a nervous red face emoji with a water droplet just to show how nervous and bashful she is. And then she adds a guy called Jason Love. It says dropping 7/13, mark your
big-ass dude.
calendars. Well, what is it that
Yeah, he's
finally
like
happened?
6'4".
What is coming out, guys? What's going to be released here?
Apparently,
What
I
is
heard it
Lena
wasn't
the
even
Plug
good.
so excited for? Let's watch this video, and maybe it'll give us a little more insight as to what's actually going on.
Are we about to see corn?
Guess when I'm shooting it today.
Obviously not. It's YouTube. Yeah, my friends on Facebook were making posts saying like, "Damn, I feel bad for Adam. That shit was mid."
No. You have to be trolling. You have to be kidding. You have to be kecking me. This is bad. This is really bad. And she even made this her pinned tweet. Now, you would expect the replies from her audience and Adam's fans to just be like, encouraging this behavior because they do a lot of adult content anyway. It's not exactly a secret that they do videos together. I mean, it's all over Lena's Twitter, so it's not surprising, right? But no, this tweet actually ended up leaving its target audience and is it's filled with people calling Adam a cuck. And with this being the talk of the town, someone on Adam's
Every
show
hotel
decided
does
to
have
ask
the
him
cuck
why he
chair.
let this happen, why he let his wife finally
True.
do it, and his answer was basically,
Well, look, guys, she's just built for it.
So I've been with my wife for 7 years. We just got married. We're not in an open relationship.
Yo. He got Destiny on as if Destiny's gonna back him up. That's when he brings it up. He's like, all right, I got the other guy here. He's gonna back me up on this. He's gonna.
Does he though?
I don't know, but that's so fucking funny. He's out here being like, Low key, like probably behind the scenes. Yo, Destiny, how do you deal with everybody calling you a cuck, man? Cause you know.
I mean, I know what Destiny would say to that because probably the same thing I'd say.
What does Destiny say to that?
That he's not a cuck because like actual cuckolding is a different situation. Number one. Number two is that Adam's fucked like 300 women at least. Like she gets to fuck one guy. Like it's not like she also fucked 300 guys. Like number two, even if the fact that Adam gets to have a wife and a child and a family and still keep fucking other women openly, not having to sneak around, not having to be dishonest, not having to, do all that crazy stuff is like, you hear a lot of people a lot of times say like, oh man, are you sure you want to get married? You sure you want to have one pussy for the rest of your life? And he was like, I want to get married and I'm not going to have one pussy for the rest of my life. If the only way to keep hooking up with people is that she can hook up with people too, like I'll take it. If I wanted to hook up with people that bad, like I was at a point where I felt like I hadn't hooked up with enough people, right? Like I was in a lot of long strong relationships when I was in my 20s, and when I looked at all my friends or listened to my friends talking about what they've done this and this and they've done this and this, and I was like, damn, my girl's cool, but like I'll never have these experiences. So obviously those relationships never panned out. Like I didn't cheat on them, but like I was always gonna have that in the back of my head. And like now I'm at a place where it's like I'm cool. Like I think I've done enough. But if he doesn't feel like he's done enough, like I feel like that's a fair trade.
Okay, in regard to the first thing, I don't think that's what Destiny would say because it's an etymological argument, right? It's like the cheapest way to debate something is like, well, that like it's like when people say, when you're a kid, well, I guess not kids now, but when we were kids, and it'd be like, oh, you gay, and you'd be like, well, gay means happy, so yes, I am happy, ha ha ha, joke's on you. Like that doesn't fucking work. That's a really cheap way of like when people say cuck, they're not literally like they're disrespecting you. They're not glorifying like,
Obviously.
oh, you're into this. They're using it in a different context and saying you specifically are into the fetish known as cuckoldry. Like
Okay.
they're
So see, what if he
disrespecting
starts
you.
just going, okay, I am? What if he starts going, okay, I am? Then what?
That's probably what he does. That's more likely. Like to just be like, okay, I am, because then you just disengage, and the person can just go, ha, clown on you, blah blah blah. But if as long as you show you don't care, this is how you deal with bullies in general, or like your homies clowning on you, right? Not just bullies. If you go, yup, like it takes the fun out of it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
The second part, I don't really have anything to say. Like that's personal.
oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
I thought.
Perspective, we shoot with other girls, stuff like that, right?
But no other guys is busting her.
Over the weekend,
Oh no. Something like that happened.
she filmed her first ever scene with another man.
I know you was mad. You was angry.
I agreed to it, so I wasn't. I say angry might not be the word.
But you was kind of like disappointed a little bit. Like, you vibe like cut, that's your sitch.
I agreed to it. She gave me a lot of outs on the way in. Like, she
Yeah.
kind of kept telling me, like, if you don't want me to, I won't do it. You know?
Said no.
Yo, look at this. Look at this. All these other men are like inherently going, "Oh, but you didn't like that. Oh, but you like oh, that's horrible." Oh, like it's an inherent manly masculine thing. Cuz these are I'm assuming, I don't know these guys, but I'm assuming these are like pretty traditionally masculine men, right? Do you know these guys?
Mm-hmm.
They're immediately like, "Oh, that's fucked."
Okay. I thought you were asking me a question. Go ahead.
You said, "Mm-hmm."
Okay.
Is there more to about these guys? Are they not traditionally masculine men?
I was trying to say I only know the guy next to Destiny because he's like some crip and he was teaching Destiny like all the slang and shit. So I've only watched like one segment where like him and Destiny were talking and he talked about him and somebody said something about Destiny and he was like, yo, you trying to get me killed by this crip guy? Like but then it was off games in the end. But that's the only person I recognize. I don't know who this guy is next to Adam.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take an assumption. I'd say these are probably like the same people that would probably clown on Destiny, or like that they're just traditionally masculine men with traditional male gender roles. Would be my assumption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Immediately, right? They jump in. They're like, "Oh, you didn't like that. Oh, it's bad. Oh, this." Maybe he did like it. Maybe he literally is into traditional cuckoldry. Who knows? But if he were, I feel like he probably wouldn't have, waited for 300 girls in 7 years. But it's the assumption, right? It's the automatic assumption. And everybody on the internet's going to go the same because either those people legitimately are monogamous and legitimately are disgusted by that idea and would never allow that to happen in their relationship. Or they just are young and they believe that, and maybe later in life they'll be like, oh, open relationship is like what's right for me. But like that's the assumption, right? The assumption is like, oh, you didn't like that. But they didn't say shit when it was like, oh, we fuck all these girls together, right? It's the assumption.
Mm-hmm.
But that can't that's not just made up. Like no dude just came through and was like, this is society. We let men fuck many women, but we don't let women fuck many men. Like that has to come from somewhere, right? Like we didn't just make it up.
I mean, well, everything's made up, but I mean, yeah, I'm sure it came from somewhere. Wherever it came from was made up then.
No, I don't think so. I would cuz like okay, like marriage is not a Western exclusive thing, right? Like they didn't just get married in Europe. There was marriage in Babylon. There was marriage in Rome. There was marriage in ancient China. There was marriage in ancient Japan. There's marriage in fucking the Aboriginals in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people didn't all get together. Maybe 200,000 years ago, one guy came up with it, and then all the humans dispersed throughout the world, and they already had this idea of marriage. But probably when we left Africa, we probably didn't have the idea of like concepts. Like our brain probably wasn't developed enough for nebulous ideas like marriage. We were probably more like animals. But we probably still pair bonded. Now, there probably still were people that were cheating and fucking multiple women or women that were fucking multiple men, just genetically speaking, like that's going to happen. But I would assume that this comes from like a natural animal behavior, a natural tendency in most species to either be like mate for life or mate in cycles and just fuck whatever. I would assume it's like a biological thing that is.
I mean, we've heard all of the quote unquote reasons like
Have
ad
we?
nauseum. So it's like you're speculating, but it's like okay, so the one is that men can impregnate like multiple women, but a woman can only be pregnant once for 9 months. And so back in the day when resources were scarce, you had to pair bond. The woman had to pair bond to ensure that she was going to have the right protection and provisioning for the 9 months that it took her to gestate the child. And if the guy had enough money, he could purchase the dowries of many wives. So like mostly it was kings doing it because obviously they had all the money, but there were other people with concubines, mistresses, even in biblical times. Like if you had the money, you could just buy a wife. And so women couldn't have money, so it's not like they could buy a bunch of husbands. And number two, if you're pregnant with a husband,
Yeah,
even
you
if women
can't.
did have the money and
Can't
she's
get
pregnant
another
with a husband,
pregnant.
you're not gonna buy another husband and he can't get you pregnant. Like what the fuck? He's gonna be like, no, what? I'm gonna find a woman who is gonna have my kid.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds like a reasonable argument. And then like it's too
but see
simplistic.
now, but the reason it's changed now is because of contraceptives, birth control, sex education, and women can have sex with a lot of dudes without having to worry about okay, who's gonna take care, provision, and provide for me for 9 months while I gestate the child. They can be like, I'm just not gonna have one. I can have all these different birth controls, never have a child, and keep fucking. So it's not that women never liked sex or didn't want sex. It's that they were get having sex had a lot to fucking think about in the past before science, and now there's not as much to think about.
Well, you wouldn't be thinking about that if it just developed as a natural evolutionary behavior, right? Like if we go back like before consciousness, right? Like before we're conscious animals, like we're probably smart like apes, or a little smarter than apes, but not quite here, that would just be a natural behavior. But so, okay, what I was going to say is, sure, we could say that it's changed now, and there's probably a lot of reasons why it's changed now. But I would assume
Well,
usually
not to
when
mention they
there's,
could die by having a kid, and often did.
oh yeah, that's true,
Like,
and the kids
am
die.
I really gonna just have sex with people? Like, if I could just die, like, I'd rather be alive and not fuck.
I don't think they made the choices like that. To be real with you, I don't think they
Yeah,
had a
the
choice.
wives couldn't because they were property, but like,
And the
when you really think about
concubines.
it,
Well, so usually in biology, my associate's in biology, by the way. My bachelor's in linguistics, but I wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. Um, Usually in biology, what if I remember right? I could be wrong. We could look this up. Usually, though, if you have a like something that happens because of evolution or some complex behavior or complex way of mating, usually a simple answer doesn't make sense. Like simple answers make sense in logic. We have like Occam's razor, but biology takes place over so many millions and millions of years that usually it's supposed to be counterintuitive. Like what you might think is the obvious answer might be some of it, but then you go like to the next level and usually there's a lot more to it. So I would say yeah, that probably makes sense, like the idea of like you've got to allocate resources, but then I would think of like bird species that that trick, like put their eggs in the nest of another bird and throw out that bird's eggs, and the bird doesn't notice, and then it gives birth to, or takes care of their eggs. So if I were to guess, I'd say the next layer on top of that would be, but there would still be people that would genetically be successful by fucking around, fucking somebody's wife. The wife doesn't tell anybody, and then the baby comes out, and that guy's genes have been passed on when it should be the husband's. Like I think there would probably definitely be. It wouldn't work 100%, right? If it was 100% that, then the explanation of pair bonding and needing resources doesn't work anymore, because if everybody's just fucking everybody, then everybody's like communal and communist and everybody just takes care of everybody, and like it's not like modern society where nobody's going to take care of, like, besides the government is going to take care of like a baby that was born without parents. So if everybody's 100% polygamous and just fucking each other and everybody has babies, then everybody takes care of them together, then the first theory is wrong, and that's just not true. So it's probably not 100% polygamy, but 100% monogamy. Like, then we would just be monogamous. We would have no cheating, no like instinct to cheat, no societies that
right?
have
We
multiple
created
wives.
monogamy out of necessity because of scarcity.
I don't think we created. I think like it came naturally from that manner of mating that just naturally happened through evolution, which would be why it would be in so many institutions across the world that have no contact with each other. But again, I think it's probably a balance. It's probably like 80-20, right? 80% like purely monogamous, and then 20%.
That's an arbitrary number to throw out, but okay,
Yeah, but that would be my
that's fine.
guess.
You're allowed to think that, I guess.
It would
I'm
be
gonna play.
it would be X plus something X, right? It's some amount of purely monogamous. Everything's about resources, and some amount of cheating and polygamy and like sneaking your genetics in. Because at the end of the day, you could say it's about resource allocation, but animals, like, do they think about that, or do they just fuck? Like, is it just a natural instinct? I don't know. Anyway, play
Yeah,
the video.
again, but they fuck to spread their genes, and if you're fucking, but she's spreading somebody else's genes because she's already pregnant with somebody else's uh kid, then you could be fucking somebody else. Like, that's
Yeah.
not, like, you don't want that, because then the fucking doesn't matter because you're still not past, you're not completing your prime directive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it would be sneaky. Like,
I said
okay,
that
go
I
on.
wanted
You
her to
already
do
got
it. I'm
millions
like,
on top of millions of dollars, Adam. You not do that.
fair enough. But I
Come
told
on.
her
The
I'm
money
like, I think we
argument.
should do it. Let's get it
All
out the
right,
way.
so how do you five about it now?
She's
Do I need
32.
to get you an old English?
No. Yeah, I don't need to drown the pig in Old English. But I was kind of surprised because I feel like I can like intellectualize it, and from my perspective, I don't think it should be a big deal. But then after she actually did it, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel kind of odd. You know,
neighborhood
a
crib,
little bit of
like
that feeling in the belly.
See,
You know.
Been with her for 7 years, bro. I can't imagine doing something like this. I like some of Adam's podcasts. You'd probably call me a fan of the channel No Jumper. The same goes for people like Destiny. But as far as their relationships go, I've always had a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that they function as normal.
I don't know, dude. Like I said earlier, it's like 7 years, and she's only had one dick, and you've had hundreds of women. Like, I feel like it's fair that she can have one, like, in that amount of time. Like, it's not like she's going anywhere now that she fucked some other dude. Like, I think that's fair. Like 1 to 100. Like, that's a fair ratio. Like, I mean, even for the people, no, I think 1 to 1 is a fair ratio, but that's me personally. But to the people who are like unacceptable, I think that if they can't accept 1 to 100, something's wrong with them. Like, they have some sort of, like, that's what makes me start sounding like the fucking Rad Fam saying that they're insecure and all this stuff, because it's like 100 to 1. Like, I feel like those guys are thinking like, oh, well, I can't let her have just one guy because that could be the one guy who dicks her down better than me. And it's like, Adam's not worried about that, and so I respect him for that. And I'm sure his wife at the same respects him for that too, and also agrees like, you have nothing to worry about. Like, nobody's gonna dig me down like you. And so yeah, I think people who are really like, nah, it only take like 100 to 1. Fuck it, no, it's got to be 100 to 0, and that's okay. That's not okay. It's hypocritical. It's in no metric fair, and it's like you're scared that that one guy is gonna have a bigger dick than you. He's gonna last longer than you. He's gonna fucking do some shit that you ain't never done, and she's gonna not be able to stop thinking about it. Like, those are all real concerns that guys will never admit.
Yeah, I think I fundamentally disagree. I think it's like being an alcoholic and like looking at people that drink normally and being like, well, how like okay, a lot of alcoholics, they look at people that drink normally, and because they don't know that they're like an alcoholic and have a disease of addiction, they think, well, how the fuck am I not like able to hold it together like all these people that are getting trashed every night and then going to work? Like, they fully believe that that's how society works because that's what they're experiencing. When in reality, people aren't all fucking alcoholics and getting drunk and then having a successful life. It's just that that's the experience of someone going, man, everybody else gets super fucked up like me, but they're able to hold it together. What's wrong with me? I think that's just your assumption. I don't think it comes from that. I don't think it comes from insecurity and fear that somebody's going to take your bitch. Like,
But of course you don't think that because you're on these other dudes' side. Like, it's hard to come face to face with that.
no. When you say it like that, when you say it in that way, you're going, this is 100% it, and you guys are just afraid to accept.
Well, what's the reason?
Bro,
Like, you
people
can't
just
tell
aren't
a
built for that.
Good reason, like, you're just gonna.
What do you
that's
mean a
like-
good
that's-
reason?
that's-
What is a good reason to what is a good reason to you and what is a good reason to other people is totally different.
But you making the claim we're not built for that is false, because we already said monogamy is a societal construct.
I said
due
it's
to
not.
necessity.
I said it's not.
Okay.
I said it comes from biology, most likely, and there are probably some people that come from polygamy, and that's their like successful strategy to pass along their DNA. But if that were 100% of everybody, then the monogamy theory is out the window, and that's not true at all. So either the monogamy theory is not true, and we come from a completely polygamous animal culture, but if that were true, right, monogamy would never exist. And even if it was just made up, then you'd probably see it in one culture or like the cultures in one area, not every culture in the world. I think it's a natural human behavior, and I think there's some balance therein, but there's probably still some negativity associated with the polygamy of like bonobos, right? Like bonobos fuck each other like crazy, and they all take care of the babies together, and we're really closely related to them. But that's probably not our successful mating strategy, because if it was, we'd probably live in a society where everybody fucks everybody, nobody cares about it, and there's not like feelings are not made up. Feelings happen for a reason, probably, right? Would you agree with that?
Feelings are what?
Feelings are not made up. Like, we didn't make up feelings. It's not a societal construct to make up feelings. Like, these chemical things that happen in us they're probably due to some evolutionary reason. Maybe they can come up in different circumstances that the body obviously wasn't built for, like being too anxious to talk on the phone. But those
Among mammals, 9% of species are monogamous. Among primates, just 29% are. And this is from
29, that's higher. That's way higher.
of people that are monogamous, which means that the ones that aren't is 71%. But we force that 71% into the 29.
Bro, I don't think we're forcing. Like, you assume that we're forcing because you like this stuff.
Bro, it's you guessed an 80-20 earlier, and I'm literally showing you a 79-29, and now you're like, oh, you just want. This is from the.
That's
Institute
not what
for
I said.
Family
What
Studies.
you're changing up what I said. I'm saying,
Okay.
first of all, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but you're making these assumptions.
I was saying that monogamy is not it's not the people are more non-monogamous than monogamous, and that we push monogamy because of society. And you said I'm making that up. So I looked at the Institute for Family Studies and about.
I didn't say you're making that up.
In nature.
I didn't say you're making that up. I said I fundamentally disagree.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So if I went to the Institute for Family Studies and they're telling you the research, do you still fundamentally disagree? Because if you're just gonna disagree,
What
with
is the
studies and
research? You're saying
we
that
might as well just
mammals.
continue.
You're saying that mammals are. First of all, everything we're doing is speculation. Everything we're doing. We're not having a debate. I'm not interested in having a debate. This isn't like a platform for a debate.
Okay.
First and foremost, I am not agreeing with you that monogamy is a made up thing. I think it exists across so many cultures because it comes from nature. We were probably doing that in some form or another before we had consciousness, and then we adapted systems around it. That would be my assumption. And then probably there is a successful percentage of human beings that would favor polygamy and would be cheating, and that would also end up being successful in some percentage. So I think there's probably a balance, and I think there are people that. So the reason I was saying feelings, right, are a real thing is I would assume that the horrible feelings that people get that are not naturally monogamous are probably akin to like a gay person being forced to have like straight sex. Like if there's like a gay woman in the past that was forced to have a male husband and he had to fuck her, and she's like, man, sex is like the worst, it's horrible, and like she doesn't talk about it with anybody because it's the past. She just assumes that's how sex is, and she probably looks around like, man, all these poor wives, like, but we have to do it to have kids, but she's fucking gay. I would assume that those feelings come from somewhere, and the reason why, like when SNEAKO, as one example out of 1,000 million, says, oh, I felt like somebody was taking something from me, I felt horrible, I had PTSD flashbacks, all these things he said, it's probably because he's not like genetically predisposed to that, and his body is naturally telling him, this is bad for your survival, this is not going to function. And there might be people that genetically might not get those feelings.
So he's in the minority. He's in the 29% minority. So that's fine. Like they do exist. We've got the number now. After you speculated the number, I found the number.
What is this number? What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. What did you say was 80-20 earlier?
I made a guess. I said maybe, and I changed what I said. I said some X amount and some smaller Y amount are probably one way, and the Y amount is probably another way, and it's probably even more complicated than that.
Answer, and I'm telling you the answer.
Where did you get this answer? What is this answer? Explain this, because
Oh,
what I heard you say is 9% of mammals are monogamous and 29% of primates are monogamous. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with? That's not the answer. That's just research of animals, but we're more complex than that.
Before Western imperialism, 83% of indigenous societies were polygynous, 16% monogamous, and 1% polyandrous. So colonization changed that in most of the world. So
83%. Wait. You just said something really interesting. Hold on. I'm really interested in what you just said. You said 83% of native societies?
of indigenous societies,
What does indigenous societies mean?
like people that weren't conquered by Europe, people that were conquered by Europe.
Are you sure? Are you sure they're not just referring to like Native Americans or small tribes or something?
Well, indigenous people are the people who were in a place that got quote unquote discovered by
Can
Western
you pull up that
imperialism.
study? Can you pull up that study?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, send it to me. I want to read this. I want to understand what that term
Oh, crap.
means. Institute for Family Studies. Interesting.
People, while the woman they love is having intercourse with other men. Like, I thought the whole point of a
Oh, I'm not
relationship
showing
was
this
that
anymore. Hold on.
exclusivity, right? That bond. It's like, you know, you
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. You can play it. I'm just reading this in the
like
background.
this one person enough that you decide to be just with them. That's the point of it, right? And then these dudes kind of break that standard and redefine a
bro.
relationship's entire meaning by being with someone who also sleeps with other people. And they sleep with other people too. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could do that. I know sometimes relationships are complicated and cheating happens, but having it like baked into the cake where both of you are planning the entire time to do this just really weirds me out, bro. It does. And apparently it weirds out a lot of others as well, given the facts that all of Twitter is absolutely roasting Adam right now. Adam22 make enough money for his wife to retire, by the way. She just enjoys getting detonated. Is the word, wait, is it detonated? Is it really detonated? She just enjoys getting detonated by other guys too much to stop. On the original tweet announcing their marriage, even
See,
Leaky
like
replied,
even that guy's like, oh, she enjoys by other guys. Like she's been doing that the whole 7 years. Like he made it seem like it's a habitual thing that she's doing. Like one new dick every 7 years is fucking fair, dude. If he's fucking that many women.
Bro, I think if you're a man or a woman, I think if you're a human being, a relationship is like a contract. A marriage or a relationship is like a contract. And you set standards, right? And you set rules, and everyone's are going to be different. Some are going to be really similar to others. If you enter into that contract and you say, we are only going to sleep with each other, the second somebody breaks that vow, most of the time, oh, okay, you broke the contract. This marriage is no longer valid. You didn't respect me, and you didn't respect the rules of this establishment.
Yeah,
you're going to get divorced.
They discussed it. It was part of the rules because they discussed it. It's not like she went and did it behind his back. Or has been this whole time.
Sure.
to it, asking for a turn with Lena. This really is reminiscent of the infamous like Mel Time clip, which went pretty
There's
viral
no
a couple
sources
ago.
on this
Basically
fucking
shows,
thing.
Like, you know, Destiny and his wife Melina are hanging out, and then this guy Abba from the Abba and Preach channel comes up and like wants to dance with her, and Destiny's like, "Uh-oh,
There's
Mel
no
time."
sources on this.
And it just, well, you can imagine how that one was memed, right?
No.
Uh-oh.
No, okay.
Mel time.
Why did I say this?
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Yeah, this shit pissed me off too. People's reactions to this.
What was it? Pause it. What was it?
No, like Abba, Mel said that she knows salsa. She used to do ballroom and salsa. So Abba was like, "Oh, I don't believe you. Let me see." And then they just danced fucking salsa, which we all know is just, you especially as a Latino, it's like it's just dancing. Like she wasn't grinding on him. They were facing each other. She was, they had space between them. And everybody's like, "Oh, look at Destiny. He's a cuck. He hates this. Look at his face. He's reading the fucking chat." Like, they're like, "Oh, he's cucking Destiny right in front of him." Blah blah blah. It's like, bro, they're fucking dancing salsa. Like, maybe it's because I'm from Miami, and like obviously most people in the country are not from Miami. But that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen people try to like clown somebody for, that your wife dances fucking salsa. Like, how many wives go to salsa classes and their husbands stay home because they're like, "I ain't dancing," and they just go to class and come home? Like, are those guys all cucks too? Like, in a well-lit room with a bunch of people fully clothed? Like, fuck out of here.
I guess I don't really. It doesn't seem that interesting to me. But did he
but
fuck
was getting
her?
the same
And then there
kind
have
of
been other
backlash.
clips as well of Melina where she
Okay.
references this and just, I get that they're together and have an open relationship and are comfortable with themselves or whatever, but
Is this
sometimes
not
when I
playing?
see these interactions, it comes across to me like she's playing into it and
Oh,
trying
okay.
to embarrass Destiny. Like offering Mel time to some dude who comes to speak to her during a live event and like getting all flirty with him, right?
It's me. You call me Destiny's wife, bro.
Yeah, well, I don't
Yeah,
know your
that's
name.
what you-
I don't
yeah.
know his name here. But
Mel time. You
What?
want Mel time?
What's your name?
Melina?
Melina,
Mel.
okay.
Yeah, Mel time.
I don't want Mel. I'm
You
Melina.
want Mel time.
No.
Well, you're asking me questions, you get Mel time.
Like that's just not a good look. Like even if you're comfortable with your relationship enough to show that off publicly, I feel like it's kind of humiliating to him. I don't know, bro. This just seems like a bit too far.
But
in my
also, like,
opinion. Even
if you know Destiny enough to call her Destiny's wife, and all the women introduced themselves at the beginning of that fucking show, how are you gonna sit there and say, I don't know your name, Destiny's wife? So that you're fucking with Destiny if you know that she's his wife, so you know her name. I don't want to hear that shit.
How do you know? You have no idea if that's true or not. You have
Fuck that
no
guy.
idea.
Nah, he knows her fucking name. Nah, fuck that guy. He knows her name.
I don't believe.
An open relationship.
I don't think
think
people are malicious.
Clips that are obviously going to be reposted and go
That-
viral with the sole
that,
purpose of
my
mocking you and
friend.
your significant other. You know what I mean? I feel like if you have something weird about you, let's say you're a furry, let's say you are, strange in some other way.
That good New York fentanyl.
Let's say you have an open relationship. I feel like you have an obligation to yourself and to others who are kind of a part of that group, right? I mean, I guess you don't literally have an obligation, but I probably would behave this way. I feel like you have an obligation and a need to produce the least clippable, cringy moments related to that identity that you can, or else when those get posted all over the internet, it completely invalidates your identity, right? A lot of people are going to just mock you for it, and that sucks. I feel like they should be trying to produce the least amount of clips like this possible, because a lot of people, when they find out who Destiny is, if they find out he has an open relationship, maybe it doesn't bother them that much, but if they see clips like this, he just comes across as a clown to them. You know what I mean? There really is no benefit to having people mock you
Pause.
like this. Then again, maybe people like
I guess that's true, but like, okay. That sounds to me like someone saying, yo, bro, don't be out here eating tacos and fucking salsa on video and trying to, make people look stereotypical and look bad. Like, you have an obligation to not be a stereotype. Like, what if someone was like, yo, Zerk, you've got an obligation to not be out here eating chicken and watermelon. Like, you'd be like, no, I don't. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's disgusting. Like, you're placing the idea of these stereotypes of being cringy or whatever, right? Because in this case, it's being cringy. Oh, I have an obligation to, like, not be cringy and look this way? I don't know. I think that's a weird take.
Yeah, no.
I think it's a
It's
weird
that
take.
He was being silly with his wife. Like, that's probably why he gets women. Is because he is not afraid to, like, do silly things.
No. I don't care about
smile.
that. I don't care about that. I'm just saying the overall take that he just said. I think that's a weird fucking take. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I'm responding to him saying that. Is that, like, all that stuff that dudes are like, oh, that shit gay, oh, that shit sus, oh, that shit, like, whatever. It's like Destiny's probably smashed as many chicks as Adam, and, like, all the dudes making fun of them won't even probably reach double digits. So it's like, really, who gives a fuck what they think?
But is the number of sexual partners really a validator of men? I don't think it is. I think it's really when I was
Society it is.
See, I don't think that's necessarily true either, because when I was like 20, 21, 22, I was definitely trying to fuck as many girls as I could. And then they'd be weird when I was like trying to keep talking to them and keep texting them, and they'd have to like shoot me off or ghost me. And I thought but I was like, oh, I'm trying to get as many bitches to fuck me as possible. And then I would end up with these girls like that were like functionally in love with me. And I would like, talk to for months and have like close friendships with, and we would hook up, and like I'd be balancing all these girls at once. And it's because society told me, oh yeah, you're supposed to fuck a bunch of girls. And I was doing that, but I was miserable. And every time like I was missing a girl, I was like, I got to replace this, girl number 5 with a new girl. And then I'd be out there, and like, it ended in like sleepless nights of going out.
You were doing that because society told you to do that. So then
exactly.
You sit here and say, I don't know that society like says that to men. It's like you literally were proof of it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't know that society says that to men. I'm saying I think it's dangerous to tell especially young men, because I was a young man. I'm still relatively young, but I was like 20, 21 when I was like going through that period of my life. What I realized eventually is, I'm literally just like looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for stability. And then when you get to that, you figure out like eventually, oh, well, actually, I was just looking to not have to, go to the gym and do all this work that I put into to try to constantly attract girls. oh, but then when you get into a relationship and you stop doing that, that can fuck up the relationship. So you have to like, at the end of the day, I think it all comes back to self-actualization and figuring out who you want to be for yourself. And I think it's really, really dangerous to be throwing around insults like, oh, this guy has probably fucked this many girls, and these people that are talking about it will probably never fuck this many girls. Like,
Yeah, because the
we
people that are
shouldn't.
talking about it
I don't
want
want
to fuck that many girls.
Do they? Or do they think that
Absolutely.
they do? I don't.
Why do you think they watch all the content that's supposed to be telling them how to deal with female nature so they can get more girls?
Yeah, but that doesn't. That's the thing. It literally doesn't work. Like, what girl is out there going, man, I'm really glad that I met this guy and he's super into Fresh and Fit and the red pill.
Yeah, obviously, which is why Destiny, like, his theory is that the red pill is on its last legs. It's gonna start to die down but the thing was, they came out during a time of like red pill rage, and like even a lot of us went through red pill rage, but then after the red pill rage, you realize like, wait, the thing that was appealing is that if a guy who may be an incel or maybe just shy or whatever is like, how do I get girls, then the reactions are just be yourself, or even girls that they probably want to date are like, you're a great person, so the right person will come along one day. And then it's like, that's the most insulting thing ever. It's like, bitch, I want to date you and you're telling me how great a guy I am, but you're not fucking dating me. Like, there's something, if I'm such a great guy, like, you would date me. So like, if there's people that are getting girls to date them, I want them to tell me what they did, because just be yourself is not good fucking advice. And so these guys are claiming to have advice, and they're telling you what to do, like actionable. Even if they said just go to the gym and then you'll get a girl, even though it's not, that's not all it takes. It's still something different. Like, go to the gym is not be yourself. Go to the gym is not, oh, you're wonderful, stop trying and it'll happen. Like, if you're not trying, you work remotely, you order all your food on fucking Instacart, and you don't see people, like, it's not gonna just happen. You have to go outside. That's another, like, tell somebody, go outside, go take a dance class, go join a book club, go do a thing where there's people around, right? But nobody tells these guys to do that. They just tell them, oh, be yourself, stop trying so hard, it'll happen. Like,
you know what though?
that's bullshit.
No,
And
but
guys are
you
tired
know
of
what?
hearing that, and that's why they gravitated to these red pill rage channels.
No, I think you're onto something, but I think you're incorrect. Because, okay, so like when I was like 12, 13, I was looking up, how do I make girls like me?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't say be your, like I would watch like Hitch, right? Like Hitch came out when I was like 10. And then like
Yeah,
my
but
whole
you ask people
have you
that
seen the
know.
memes? Right, have you seen the memes of like me changing my personality after watching a movie? Like that was me as a kid. Like I would be like, okay, I'm Hitch, or I'm Drake from Drake and Josh. Like I wanted to be these people, and I would look up, and there was legitimate advice, and there was still, and even back then there were like scams, like, oh, pay for my texting course on, because texting had just been a thing for like 5 or 6 years, or not even. Like, you know, I'm like 15. Pay for my texting course. Like there was legitimate advice on there, and it worked. It worked. But you know what's funny? I actually think the be yourself advice, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's fucking phenomenal advice. And the only reason why I would think it's bad advice is if it doesn't have greater context, because someone will probably not believe you. But as I've gotten older, what I have definitely learned is, like, be somebody else. Sure, you can be somebody else, and most people are going to do that. Most people are going to be somebody else, and that can be successful. And a lot of people like do that to like try and get their partner to fall in love with them, and then they have that fear of like, oh, if I drop the facade and they see the real me, they'll never love me, right? So like that's the
thing.
goal.
Here's my issue with it, and this is a societal thing, both men and women, especially women, but this whole like acceptance thing, like accept who you are, however you are. It's like, you can accept it, but that doesn't mean that just because you accept it that you are adequate, that you're good, that you're great. Like somebody saying go to the gym, right? That's going to increase like your health, right? That's going to make you a better person. You are your mind. You're still yourself. You're just a healthy you. So you can accept yourself that you're like some fat fuck at home, but that means somebody who's not a fat fuck at home. That shows that they have dedication, they have impulse control, they have discipline, they have like qualities about them. So if you can still like be yourself, liking anime or video games or whatever the fuck like girls might think is weird, but just that
I don't think
action
they
in
do.
itself, like going to the gym, denotes a lot of positive personality traits. So if you're saying I'm not going to do that because that's not me, okay, well then that's fine. Just accept that you are at the bottom of society then. Like you can be better. Like we shouldn't we stop people from trying to be better, or like we tell people they don't have to try to be better. It's like you should try to be better. You should try to learn something new every day. You should try to, be as healthy as you can. You should try to, you know, you should strive to be better. And the people who are getting girls are the ones who are trying to be better.
Okay, can I? Okay, so my point was, I think with bad context, there are definitely, especially young men, are gonna say, "Oh, that's bullshit advice." But I think that's actually fucking phenomenal advice. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I don't know what the self acceptance and everything comes into play. I think the better thing, and I think it's a huge thing that we have a problem with in society, is not be yourself. It's find yourself, become yourself, and through self actualization, you're going no matter what it is, right? Because you can be like, I'm super into fucking D&D. I want to be the best like D&D. What do they call them? The guy that leads the campaign. What is that called?
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master, DM. I want to be the best D&D DM, and you're like really passionate about D&D. Like you can go out to D&D, and your passion for that is going to show. Or you could be like,
Right.
I really like the gym. Your passion for the gym is going to show.
Right.
But if you're just being somebody else, if you're just saying what other people are telling you is going to get you girls, if that's not you naturally, right? If you're not snappy with jokes or outwardly confident,
But
or
you can
like
learn
really
jokes.
sure, but if that's not really you, because you can mimic certainly, but if you don't have these things, like I've seen it, I've seen guys like get into like pickup artistry groups because I was in one when I was like 22. I've
Hmm.
seen the guys that like excel immediately. I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys that they were like, bro, you don't even have to do the training. Like, we're gonna make you a teacher, like immediately. And then there were guys that had been there for 6 months that still hadn't like been able to pull or been able to even talk to a girl because they get given these assignments like go talk to 100 people, men or women, at a club, and they can't do it. Like their anxiety is too strong and it doesn't work for them. So same advice is not going to work for anybody. But I bet you that same guy, he's like a great computer programmer or a great chess player or something. If he focuses instead of on being the person that he sees other people like, oh, they're having sex and they're getting girls, quote unquote, by acting this way, so let me act that way. I promise you, that guy's not going to fit into that mold. So if he finds what he is good at and what he's passionate about, no matter what it is, your passion is always going to exude. And then confidence comes from passion. And then women are going to be attracted to that. So it literally is be yourself, find yourself. And in finding yourself and self actualizing and dedicating your life to the things that you're passionate about, you will end up being around people that like that person. Because the other worst thing that happens, right, is you lie and you become this person that you're not, and then you get into a relationship and you're like, oh, I'm safe, I got the girl, I can get comfortable now, I don't have to put on this facade anymore, and then
And you stop trying to be better.
and everybody leaves you. Well, you're trying to be better at something that's not being you, right? Like, I know that feeling. I think it is good advice, but it should be become yourself, find your, and I think this is for life in general, not just for getting women. I think if you focus on figuring out who you are and defining your identity, which we all have a natural pull towards when we're teenagers, um, which is why we go on the internet now, or kids now go on the internet and like, change their personality instead of like to a movie character or a TV show character to be like a
Say less.
streamer. I think it's really, really important. I think it's really, really true. If you find activities that you like that are social, because we're social animals, you are going to end up in groups of people that are similar to you, that accept you, that can see your passion. Like, did you ever go to church as a kid?
Yeah.
Were you ever in like youth group?
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
Were the people in youth group Like, even though it's church, hooking up?
Not that I know of.
Okay, well, at my
But
youth group, they were.
I have friends who said that they definitely were.
Yeah. The people in my youth group were. If you put boys and girls together for long enough periods of time, eventually people are going to start fucking. It's just what happens, especially young people. So if you're like, you can go to a salsa class, but if those people are so fundamentally different from you that you don't fit in and you end up feeling like the bullied kid that's ostracized, it's not going to work for you. But you can also just go like to D&D, and guess what? There's girls that play D&D, and you might find someone there. Or you can go to conventions. There's people at conventions. Like, you need to find the thing that's for you.
Yeah, but guess what? There's Chads at conventions. You're still gonna lose to the Chad at the convention because not only he likes the same shit that you like, but he became better.
This would only
And
be
you're talking to
true.
somebody who's been going to conventions for more than 10 years.
Okay, across the board though, this would only be true if there's no fat slobs or losers or betas, quote unquote, that have girlfriends. That would be the only way that's true. And I could show, like, these are friends of mine, but like I can show you people that are in very committed, loving, long-term relationships. Actually, you know who were like the first people that were fucking in high
Does
school?
not make the rule.
These are not the exception. You know who were the first people that were fucking in high school, and like all the high schools that me and my friends went to? They were the nerds that were like super close, and two of them, like some of them would pair off and they'd all be fucking. And we, like, we're nerds, but we're friends with everybody, right? This eclectic group. We weren't fucking till like 2 years later, and they're like 14 already fucking. It would always be the nerds fucking. Like, this stuff just isn't true. I don't see Chads actually like pulling 99% of women. I think it's no,
Okay.
I see everybody
How
getting
many anime
girls.
conventions have you been to?
I'm not just talking
You
about
can't
an
say
anime
something that you're
conventions.
not
I'm
present
saying
to see.
I'm not talking
You
about an
brought it
anime.
up.
I
You said
as
you
one
were
example,
anime.
yes. Why aren't you talking about chess tournaments or D&D or all the other things I said?
Because I don't know about those.
Okay.
Tell you what you mentioned that I
That
know
was an
about.
example. I'm not saying specifically there. But first of all, yes, I still think you can meet people at conventions. But that's an example. In general, right? I don't even remember what I was saying. I forget what I was saying.
That you think that people should be define themselves, even if they're themselves as a fat slob, and they'll win.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it
If
could
you
happen
have-
faster if you chose not to be a fat slob.
It's not going to make you happy, and it's not going to last. It's not
Being
going to last.
healthy will make you happier than being unhealthy.
Probably.
Okay.
But
It's
still,
very, like, I don't know why you're defending like fucking being gross.
I'm not defending being gross. I'm defending the opposite. I'm saying find the thing that makes you passionate, that you do for you, that you're not doing because okay, I know guys, I'm sure you know guys like this too, and it's really really sad to see them. Guys that sign up for salsa classes or go out to events and do stuff because they're specifically like there to look for girls. And it's cringe and it's hard to watch because they're not there for the activity. They're just there trying to fuck. I know for a fact you know guys like this because I know guys like this and it's sad to watch. If instead you're like, yo, I actually really like bowling. I'm going to join a bowling, as an example. Something. I really like this thing. I'm going to go do this thing because that's what I want to occupy my time with. You're going to be more likely to get into the natural sort of situation where you can pull a girl than like, and especially guys that aren't quote unquote chads, right? Because like me at 22, when I'm super jacked, yeah, I can go to a salsa class where I don't give a fuck about salsa, or I can go to a class in college and not pay attention to class and just be there to fuck. And I was jacked and muscular and handsome enough that I could just pull girls. But I don't think that's the case for everybody. And I think it's awkward and cringe, uncomfortable, I guess, when guys are clearly there trying to pull girls and the girls are super not interested. I think girls would be more interested in someone that's at something that they're equally passionate about. They're going to be drawn to them anyway. I think charisma can come out in people in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's why I think be yourself is just incomplete advice. I think it's actualize yourself, figure out who you are, and focus on the things you're passionate about, and then you're more likely to find people. If you just want to fuck, then
Focus
just be a
on
fuck
yourself,
boy.
Kings.
Yeah, if you just want to fuck, then just be a fuckboy. Yeah, go act like a pickup artist. It'll work, I promise you. But there's a difference between that and like wanting to marry a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Adam and Lena get off in the humiliation. That could be another part of it, right? I'm not in their heads, so there's no way to truly know their intentions, but maybe they like people making fun of them for this stuff. But yeah, it just seems like a rough spot to be in, and the way they talk about it publicly is really not helping the situation at all. People are also comparing Adam to SNEAKO now, given what happened. Like with this clip titled, SNEAKO watching Adam22 do the same shit he did.
You copied my whole fucking
Adam22's wife was begging him to grow a pair and tell her she's not going to go another man. She said she asked him, "Are you sure?" like 3 times. And that podcast clip I showed earlier is actually not the only time Adam talked about this. He even talked about it in a separate clip where he announced that it was coming, which has been reposted to the No Jumper clip channel, aptly titled, Adam reveals that Lena did a BBC scene. And the No Jumper
That's
channel,
just bait.
the No Jumper official clips channel named this clip. Did you have to put
That's
BBC?
bait.
Couldn't you have just done she filmed a new
obviously.
kind of porn, she filmed a new kind of adult video? Did you have to put BBC in the title, bro? Come
That's
on.
how the
This is what
industry
I'm saying.
works.
They're trying to humiliate themselves. And in this video, he basically says that the reason he did it is because he felt his wife's adult video career or whatever was being held back by the fact she only did videos with him. Whereas if she did a video with other dudes, it would fulfill a lot of other people's fantasies, because I guess that a lot of people have been asking for her to do a video with someone that isn't Adam. That's supposedly been the most highly requested thing on her pages or whatever.
It's all money.
Reality
I
is
believe that 100%.
All
career
money.
has been, helped by me for sure, but also held back by me to a certain extent because of the fact that we would only shoot together. And
Take a man to realize that.
the number one thing that she gets asked, that she gets requested, whatever, is they want to see her shoot with another guy.
This is how you know.
Yeah, there's
Adam
dudes
is,
that are into that
like
shit.
I
It's
said,
weird.
like a psychotic money-making machine, and the same goes for Lena.
I just feel like we got enough money. We don't got to do all this crazy shit. There's a lot of girls who that amount of money would change things for them. I already know how much fucking money this rich got in the bank. She don't got to do all that. I'll spend.
Nice
I'll
cover
buy
up.
you a nice, a better Christmas present, so that you don't have to take me back this year.
Oh my gosh! But what if
I
it was
guess
a
the
white?
Christmas
He's so
present wasn't that
intimidated
good.
by the black.
Yeah, I don't care if it. What color? I was just saying black because that's what he's talking about.
Say it again, man. Say what?
What flavor are you into?
I don't only into one flavor, baby.
He would allow his wife to have her back blown out by another man on video at the expense of his own personal dignity and respect and reputation, at the expense of thousands of people making fun of him every single day for the rest of time. This will not
Clicks,
go away.
baby.
People will make fun of him for
Yeah.
this forever, okay? People will bring it up on his show. And the only reason why is because it would make him more money, which is insane to me because it's not like he's strapped for cash. The dude is freaking loaded. He does not need more money. Both of them collectively are multi-millionaires,
like you said.
undoubtedly. She doesn't need
All
it.
money.
She makes a ton of money. But despite that, this is something they decided on together as a couple, that the best way forward to make more money was to unseal their relationship and have her shoot a video with another guy.
We've kind of had the conversation over the years, and I started to come to this realization that the reason why I didn't want her to do it was not because of my own personal jealousy or anything like that. It was really just the fact that I didn't want to be the guy who got roasted on the internet that week. I didn't want to be the one that everybody was making videos about.
There you
whatever.
go.
And I slowly started to feel like that's
Yeah,
kind
see,
of a
he got
stupid
over it
reason
himself.
Cope.
for me to hold her back
It
from doing
turns
something
into
that
getting
would
over
realistically
yourself,
be
which is
very,
what I said
very
earlier.
good for her career.
I mean, he
Bro,
even knows
do you
people
believe
make
him?
fun of and he says that's a bad reason to hold her back. I mean, I guess.
Do you believe him?
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe him. That's the thing, right? Because who's he trying to convince? Is he trying to convince us, or is he trying to, okay, there's 3 possibilities, right? He's trying to convince other people, he's trying to convince himself, or he's just continuing to talk about it and he actually doesn't really care, but he knows that talking about it is going to continue to get people to make videos like this and with the one we're making right now and talk about it and get him more attention and get him more money. It could be a combination, right?
It's probably that last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, from the beginning I've been saying I don't even understand why there's so many videos about this, because this shit is really minor in the grand scheme of everything. It's not even. You wanted really bad to react to this. To me, it was Tuesday, so it was I was like,
Oh, this is Tuesday. I didn't want really bad. It's just a thing that people are making videos about.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know why
this.
so many people are making videos about it. All people fucking whack. Like,
That's this game,
like
bro.
a porn star did a porn. Oh no, shut the fuck up. Like Jesus, can we talk about anything else? Like it's not like she was like this fucking church woman who has only been with one guy in her entire life and like doesn't and she has like a fucking YouTube cooking channel and she did a porn. Like that's different. Like this is a porn star. Like everybody's seen her guts get dug out. Like this is what the fuck ever. There are plenty of porn stars that are married. I've seen porn stars that are married to their fucking cameramen because their boyfriend isn't even good enough to be on camera, and he literally films it and does all of her fucking social media and all the business aspect of it, and she's with a different dude every other day. And
Damn,
he's
that guy's a
sitting there
cuck.
filming it.
That guy's a cuck.
So, and these are husbands. So it's like, um,
Yeah, that dude's a
it's
cuck.
this means like less than nothing to me because I've known and I've met those other people.
Yeah, that dude's a cuck. That's what anybody
Makes
finds
sense at
that
the
out, they're
same
gonna
time.
say
No,
that
it
guy's a
doesn't make
cuck.
sense. Yeah, having your marriage invalidated and mocked online forever is a bad thing, and it's probably
not
not
gonna
worth
be
whatever
forever.
money you
They're
would
gonna
make on
forget
that
about
video.
it
Like,
next
is it $10
fucking
million
week.
you're making? No, it's probably like, I don't know, 20, 30,000, which is like good.
Nah,
but it's
probably
not-
more.
It's not that
Probably
insane,
more.
You know what I mean? And he's like, oh well, I know
Yeah.
the guy, I trust him. Like, dude, it's not really a factor here. Like, does it really matter? Does it make it better that you shook his fucking hand and like had a beer with him? I mean, I guess it's good you know him. You've met him. You shook his hand. Because now you know that you've stared into the eyes of the dude who banged your wife on camera. Okay. Every time you see him, you're not gonna like see him as like a normal dude. You're gonna imagine the guy who f***ed your wife, which is, you know, obviously like a natural human response. Like that's what you're gonna see, right? You're gonna feel insecure about that, but you willingly allowed that to happen and then like try to justify it on a podcast, bro. I
A-Rab
really
just
don't
hit me
understand
up.
this at all.
I look at it like this, man.
Okay.
You understand, and I'm just gonna be transparent. Both of y'all, time's ticking. You only got so much time in this industry. The star industry is like a good haircut. You can be here today looking good.
Also
gone tomorrow, and
facts.
it's just over. You know what I mean? So I feel like do it and capitalize off it now while you have the chance to capitalize on it, and don't wait until it starts to fall in an all-time low to say, okay, we'll finally do it. You gotta hit it while it's high.
Adam, your time is ticking. The clock is running out. Okay? You need your wife to film herself with other guys now.
She's not
You
gonna
need her
be
sleep
able
with
to
other
do
men
that
on video
at
right
age
now,
60,
bro. Okay,
right? But they're still gonna need to
I know
make
you
money.
guys have been asking me, guys. How do
I don't think
how
they
do I
are.
make money?
I think they're
Okay, how do I
good.
make more money? How do I get to that next level of wealth? Okay, how do I?
You said you don't think they are what?
I think they'll be good when they're 60. I think they really just are trying to make as much fucking money as possible. I don't think they're like
Yeah,
blowing
but that's what
it.
I'm saying because the porn industry is a fickle industry. People are gonna get tired of her. The numbers will go down. They will not be able to sustain the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to. So they need to stack as much of it now so that they'll have it when they can't do it anymore. Because then what are they gonna do? Start fucking working at Comcast? Like once they can't do porn anymore? Like no, they gotta get this money as much of it now because it's fleeting. Because they're not gonna get like people forget that like you still have to live the rest of your life. And it's like how do you make money if this was your only career for decades?
Oh,
and
for
then
sure.
You can't do this anymore.
Yeah, but that's not a problem for these guys. No, it's not a problem. For this guy's got so many fucking venues. This guy's a money making machine, like this guy said. I don't think that's a problem for them.
Okay.
You know, become successful. How do I become a successful entertainer? Well, I'm here to tell you guys that the newest method is to have your wife film herself sleeping with another man and post it online. Okay, I know you guys are gonna think, you know, maybe it's not gonna work out. You're like, oh, maybe, you know, I'm not as famous as Adam22. My wife isn't Lena the Plug. She's not a famous adult video star. Why would that work out? But guys, listen, I'm telling you, this is the only way forward. So just hit up your wife, hit up your girlfriend. I want you to connect her with the tallest black man you can find, and get them together and get that going. Okay. Get
Yo,
that
the
going. Get that on
racial
video. I want you to edit
aspect.
it yourself, so you have to live through the pain of watching that happen. And
The
you know,
racial
no matter what she
aspect.
says, she might be like, oh, but I like
Oh,
you.
nah, bro,
I
I
don't
don't
want to
see
cheat on
color.
you. Like I only like you. I don't want to be with other guys. You need to convince her. You really need to convince her and break down the
Well,
arguments.
all these people do.
Systematically, logically, heuristically, on why she needs to cheat on you with another guy. Okay? I'm just saying that's the way to the top. That's what it takes these days. I know you guys are going to be on that real soon. Be sure to send all videos to turkeytombusiness@yahoo.com. Just I'm actually kidding. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. I regret.
All right, I think it's over.
Yeah.
Why does he have 4 minutes left? He's already at the end.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Alright.
agree. That's pretty much chill. I gotta head to the gym pretty soon. So, final thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's like kind of what I already said. I think it's fair. Like the ratio is more than 100 to 1, which I think is fair. Number one. Number two, she's already a porn star. Like, there's nothing hidden. It's all out there. So like, then there are married porn stars other than her, and so people are just fucking. They're so bored. They have nothing else to talk about. Like, they're jealous
Yes.
that this guy has all this money, and they never will. They're jealous that this guy fucks all these women, and they never will. And they have to degrade him to make themselves feel better about it.
I don't know if they're jealous. I definitely wouldn't like. Do you think people were jealous of SNEAKO and that's why they were dogging him recently?
Well, Sneakos was fucked up because he was supposed to fuck the other chick, and then he was like, "Oh, I wasn't feeling it." So I was like, "I'm definitely not letting my," and I'm not fucking somebody else. Then that's where I'm like, "Okay, relax." Like,
No, I think SNEAKO just fucking hated it, and he was talking about it like he was pretending he was okay with it and trying to cope and trying to make himself okay with it. But they weren't dogging on him because they were jealous, and I don't think anybody cared. Like, maybe somebody said, "Oh, he didn't even fuck the other girl." Like, people were dogging on him and calling him cuck, and they still do. You go on Twitter, they still do, right? Like,
yeah, but again, people calling another man a cuck doesn't mean shit to me. Cause like, whether he is or he isn't, like, there are cucks that exist and they're fine with it. They're only saying it because he's not fine with it, and so they're fucking elementary school children, like in grown men's skins. Like, like it has nothing to do with you. Shut the fuck up.
well, this guy made it about. Well, first of all, when you put it on a public platform, you're gonna get public perception. You're gonna get public interaction, and you're gonna get public blowback. Second of all, I think this was just for money. I don't think Adam really cared. I think maybe people told him to care. I think he's probably like doesn't give a fuck about it. If he does, that's his own thing. Whatever, that's fine. But I think he just saw a huge money making opportunity, just like I'm seeing right now. Right now, that's what I'm seeing. I see a huge money making opportunity. That's why I'm talking about this. I think this is dumb. But here I am because I'm trying to siphon off some of the content just like Adam did. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get your views. And if you're here, I already did. I don't give a fuck about this. But you know what? We're smart. We're smart. Gotcha, bitch. All right, I'm going to the gym. Peace.
Peace.